So I'll go over like 10 different kind of sentences that you'll make, that you can use to express love in Hindi, right? So like from the perspective of like a small kid, right? A small kid who really loves his or her mom, right? How will he express, his love to his parents? So let's think it from their perspective, from the kid's perspective, and then you can replace sentences to anyone, to your friend, or anyone basically, right? This that I have is, and again from the perspective of a small kid in this case. So let's say the kid is saying, my mother is lovely, right? And then we'll change it. You can replace mother with your friend, or uncle or aunt or anyone, or son or a daughter, right? So the first one, my mother, right? um, my mother is Mary mummy. Okay, just my mother part, Mary mummy, my mother. Lovely, because it's feminine, it's pyari, pyari. Okay, so the way you write in Devanagari, you have half per, you have ya, and then you have ri, pyari. Okay. uh, okay. Let me check the volume of everyone. Just want to make sure that you guys are not hearing any. Okay, good. So I think I've muted everyone, so you will not hear any interference or anything like that. So the first one is like, my mother is Meri Mummy. Lovely is because it's you're talking about mother. It's feminine, so it's pyari. Okay, it's so, and then this is your verb here, to be form, right? So for that you'll be using hai, right? So your sentence will be, मेरी मम्मी प्यारी है, मेरी मम्मी प्यारी है. And that's like a kid's one way for a kid to say that my mother is very lovely, okay, or lovely. And if you want to say very lovely, you can simply put बहुत, बहुत to express very, right? So मेरी मम्मी बहुत प्यारी है. So I hope this is clear, at least the template, that मेरी मम्मी बहुत प्यारी है. Now what if you want to say it, to someone else, right? So and you want to use the structure instead of my mom, it's like you are lovely, right? So again, your rest of the sentence will remain the same. बहुत प्यारी है. Only thing is, like, because you're using you, it will be आप. आप बहुत प्यारी हैं, right? And this one is like, if you are a male talking to a female, right? Because pyari, it's again a for use for feminine here. Okay. Similarly, if a girl is saying it, she can say आप बहुत प्यारे हैं, right? So it's half per, ya, and then re. आप बहुत प्यारे हैं. And again, the first one is like a female, a male saying it to a female, and this one is like the other way around, a female saying it to a man, right? आप बहुत प्यारे हैं. Pyare, it's a good word. It's like, It gives you a feeling of positivity here, right? So प्यारे हैं. So right, that's right. So Yon wrote मेरे मेरे पिताजी बहुत प्यारे हैं, which is correct, right? So you can say that. Similarly, you can change the pronoun and make more variations out of it, right? So if you want to say he is lovely or she is lovely, generically, all you have to do is like change the pronoun here. You can say वह बहुत प्यारी है, and that would be she is lovely. And it can be for anyone who is a nice person. You can say that, right? um, Second one, if you want to say it for a male, same thing. वह बहुत, you know um, for singular, you can say प्यारा for a singular. वह बहुत प्यारा है, he is lovely. And if you want to say it for like more than one or a group of kids, let's say, because let's say you're a teacher, and you are you are teaching a particular class and you love the kids, right? You can say for kids, you can say, you can use the plural one for plural masculine. So you can say प्यारे. So you can say वे बहुत प्यारे हैं, and the way you write it is like your way and this one. So, and this is they are lovely. Okay. So that's, any questions here, you feel free to write it down, Yon and Solange. Live on YouTube stream, you can always put in your comments. As we are going through these sentences, you can also write something on the comments, and I'll be glad to review those. Good, good, good. So let's get going to the next type of sentences. Okay, next one. Again, this is from the perspective of a small kid. Like, let's say a small kid, wants to say or convey, his or her love to the mother, right? And the small kid is saying, I love my mom a lot. Okay. So let's say, I'm going to give you, 30 seconds to see if you can attempt it first, and then we'll go to the answer. So John, because you have some familiarity of Hindi, and Solange, I'm not sure about your existing like skill set, but feel free to attempt it, and we will go over the details. So take some time and then try to see if you can like write this thing in Hindi. Mm-hmm. And this is, here love is used as a verb, right? And to love is प्यार करना. Easier for you, Yon, because so far we were not using it as a verb, right? We were using it as a noun, but now it's using it as a verb. To love is प्यार करना, and it's used in the present indefinite form. Take your time, and then I'll give you the answers. Any luck? Okay, मैं. Okay, write out as well. Okay, I'm gonna give you the answer. Okay, so what you're saying is like, talking about I, which is man. Okay, my mom is Mary, mummy, right? Now you have to use, a postposition called say, right? Aapse with you, right? Mujhse with me, right? So मैं मेरी मम्मी से, and then rest of it is like, बहुत प्यार करता हूँ. A small, kid is telling his mom, right? मैं मेरी मम्मी से बहुत प्यार करता हूँ. And if you want to keep, or if he wants to keep it simple, what he can say is, even if he says मैं प्यार करता हूँ, that means like, I love, simply as simple as that, in present indefinite, मैं प्यार करता हूँ, right? But if he's saying it is like मेरी मम्मी से, that means I love my mom, right? बहुत is very, a lot. Okay, so I hope this is clear, right? Now you can change it the way you want, right? I mean, if you simply want to say I love, as I said, it will be मैं प्यार करता हूँ, male, right? So for example, in our class, Yon, if you want to say something, if he wants to say I love, he can say मैं प्यार करता हूँ, right? And let's say the same thing is for a female, right? And for her it will be करती हूँ, for a female, for a girl, okay? मैं प्यार करती हूँ, because for करना, करना in general is to do, right? Karna is to do, but in the present indefinite, you are changing it, right? So that's for a female. Let's look at more variation, right? So that way, it'll be easier. You want to say, you know, I love you. You want to try it out? How do you say that? Right? The verb you already know. Very good, right? So it'll be मैं, and then this verb will be in present indefinite form. प्यार करता हूँ. That's I love. But you have to say you also, right? With you, right? So it's like मैं आपसे, one word, okay? आपसे. I mean, actually it's two. Sorry. So आपसे, with you. Okay. So I think that part you're missing probably on आपसे, right? You had, remember, in the earlier one you had मेरी मम्मी से, my mom, with my mom, right? So in this case, like, with you is आपसे, and say is again a post position if you remember it from the earlier classes. Okay, so I hope this is clear. Let's try another variation here, right? I mean, let's say if you want to say I love them, I'm gonna give you guys like some time to see if you can like think about what would you use here. So if you want to say I love them, how will you say that, right? So it's basically way it's they, So I think I have given enough hint. If you want to use the post position, say along with way, it will be, and I'm going to leave it there so you guys can like, think about the answer. Okay, okay. So that's correct, Yon. You're using a post position ko, but you can also use say. So what if you want to use the post position say? Okay, very good, right? So what you're saying is like, you're using way with the post position say, and then it will be unse, right? Unse, I love them. मैं उनसे प्यार करता हूँ, right? And you can, in this case, you can also use the post position ko. Uh, that's also correct, right? Similarly, if you want to keep it simple, or if you want to say him or her, what you are saying is like you're using the pronoun vah, which is he and she, and you are adding say along with that, and that makes it an oblique case. So whenever you're using vah plus say, it would be usse, usse, usse. Okay. So I hope, yeah. So I hope this is clear to you all. Let's get going to the new one. Um, Feel free to write down, as always, any questions you may have on this particular sentence, and then I'll be glad to answer that. Let's go over the third one. Again, as always, we'll start from the perspective of a kid, and we can make variation on it, right? Um, in this case, let's say the small kid is saying, "My mom's eyes are beautiful," right? Again, from the perspective of a kid. So in this case, it will be मेरी मम्मी की, and because it's eyes, it's आंखें. Um, मेरी मम्मी की आंखें, and beautiful, the Hindi word for that is सुंदर, right? So मेरी मम्मी की आंखें सुंदर है. And if you want to say very beautiful, you can say बहुत सुंदर है. मेरी मम्मी की आंखें बहुत सुंदर है. Okay, try to go read it few times so that way you kind of get a sense of of the sentence. Okay. Um, Similarly, now let's say you want to change the sentence to like with other pronouns, right? How will you say that? Let's say you want to say now, your eyes are beautiful, right? And if you want to say this sentence, how will you make this sentence? So I'm going to give it some time, to see if you can come up with this sentence in Hindi. Try it, Jon, since you are a. Okay. You simply use plural is because there's no post position after that. You will not change it to oblique case, right? If you're saying anything after aankhein, like so for example, post position like ka, ke, ki, or say, then aankhein will become aankhon, right? Aankhon mein, in the eyes, right? Then you'll be using aankhon. But right now you simply you simply saying you have to put yours in here, which you already said. Tumhari is like your, in a little bit informal way. If if you're talking to someone intimate, if you're simply giving compliment to someone, you can also say आपकी आंखें बहुत सुंदर है, right? You can say that. And let's say if you want to say his or her, how will you say that? Another quiz. You want to try that, Yon? So it will be uski. So it's basically उसकी आंखें बहुत सुंदर है. Now this is regardless of he or she, both of them. It's the same sentence. Okay. Right. So let's move on, and let's move on to the fourth kind of sentence here. Fourth, right? In this sentence, like we'll talk about like how to say I miss someone, right? Or to long for, to long, or to miss. The verb here is yaad karna, or to remember. The verb here is yaad karna. So the way you write is you have a ya with a, you have a the, and then you have ka, na. Right? If you're longing for someone, if you're missing someone, then you'll be using this word to long or to miss, right? So let's say a small kid, he or she is in a school, and he is or she is thinking about um, you know his mom or her mom, right? So let's say he's saying that I am missing my mom, right? They'll say मैं मम्मी mom को, either you can say miss कर रहा हूँ or रही हूँ for a girl, right? Either you can say that because you are using an English word along with karna, to do, right? um, or you can say, remember the verb was yaad karna. So either you can say that or you can say मैं mom को याद कर रहा हूँ. I'm thinking about my mother, right? Or I'm missing her indirect way of saying it. Um, so I hope this is clear. On a side question, question is आंखें, is it female? That's right, it's feminine. आंखें is feminine, right? So coming back to it, मैं मम्मी को याद कर रहा हूँ, or for a female याद कर रही हूँ, right? Another way of saying it, which is more commonly used, which is to use a postposition call ko. So you'll be using I, मैं with ko, right? So you'll be saying मुझको याद आ रही मुझको याद आ रही है, right? To me, there is a yearning or there is a longing, right? So you're saying मुझको याद आ रही है. Let me erase it so that will be easier for you, right? So you're simply saying मुझको, and that's a simple way of saying it, like without anything. मुझको याद आ रही है, right? Now you can put it here, like who are you thinking about or who are you longing for? So here you can say मुझको मम्मा और मम्मी की याद आ रही है, or you can say मुझको आपकी, one word here, okay? मुझे आपकी याद आ रही है, that I'm thinking about you, I'm missing you. और मुझको उनकी, them, उनकी, it's them, मुझे, I'm missing them or I'm thinking about them, right? So I hope this is clear. Let me know if there's any question. Otherwise, I'm going to ask you a quiz here. How will you say? Um, okay, so quiz here is that how will you say the same sentence for I am missing him or her. So I'm going to give you some time so you can like think about it and write down the answer. Okay, so let's take a 30 seconds pause here. Okay. Um, mhm. Okay. So remember here, like you are using मैं plus को. So then it would be मुझको. And then you'll be saying him or her. So there's a slight mistake, but you can correct it. So it's pretty much the same thing. The formula is you already have it. You just have to, yeah, very good, right? So you already have everything. All you're saying is like, I'm missing him or her. You're saying मुझको. Only thing is like, you're putting उसकी here. मुझको उसकी याद आ रही है, और मैं, another way is like मैं उसको याद कर रहा हूँ. I'm thinking about him or her. Okay. All right, cool. So let's get going. Any questions so far, Jan or Solange, before we move further? Bye. Okay. So fifth one, is I care for you, right? Um, and to care for someone to care for someone is, to care for someone. Give me 1 minute. So I'm doing this. Okay, it's basically चिंता करना. right? Basically, verb here. You can use another verbs also, but I think this is more relevant. Uh, so I care for you is like मैं आपकी चिंता करता हूँ. It also refers, it means that I'm concerned about you, right? To care is, there's not like a one-on-one word in Hindi, right? But in this case, it will, because chinta, it's also considered a little bit worry, that I'm worried about you. But worried not in a bad sense, but I'm like concerned about you because I care for you, right? So मैं आपकी चिंता करता हूँ, और you can say मुझको आपकी चिंता है. In the first one, you're using chinta karta hu, chinta as a verb. In the second one, you're not using it as a verb, you're using it as a noun. That's why mujhko aapki chinta hai, right? Same thing as we did just now in the earlier sentence. Basically, याद करना. मैं आपको याद करता हूँ versus मुझको आपकी याद आ रही है, right? So same similar structure basically, right? So why don't we make some more variation here, and let both the sentences, both the type you have in front of you, A and B. मैं आपकी चिंता करता हूँ and मुझको आपकी चिंता है. So why don't we just make the variation and say I care for him or I care for her, and I care for them, or I'm worried about them, let's say. So make it a little bit generic. I am worried about them. So basically, you have to make two sentences. One is this one, second one is this one. So take your time, and then I'm going to correct it if there is any. So first one is I care for him. Second one is I'm worried about them. So your question is like it will be आपकी चिंता. चिंता is again feminine, so it's आपकी चिंता करता हूँ. Okay, let's try this first one. First one, I care for him or her. You have the format in front of you. You don't have to think too much. So even if you look at any of these format and like make this sentence, will be easier. 1 minute. Okay, I'm gonna. Okay, आपकी चिंता, right? So the first one is um, I care for him or her, right? So the first one would be simply uh, all you have to do is like remove and use उसकी. मैं उसकी चिंता करता हूँ और मुझको उसकी चिंता है. That's it, right? Uh, Second one, I'm worried about them. Now let's see if you can make that one. I'm worried about them. Try it. It should be fairly straightforward now. Okay. It's similar structure, right? I mean, but you don't have to make too many changes here. Only thing is like, as I said, like chinta karna is also, it also means worried, right? So I'm worried about them. All you're doing is like मैं उनकी चिंता करता हूँ because them is वे and you're using a post position with that. So वे plus की is उनकी, right? वे plus का is उनका. So मैं उनकी चिंता करता हूँ और you can say मुझको उनकी चिंता है. Both of them are correct. Okay, so question was correct, right? I mean, yawn that you're using the formula. हिंदी में to worry को क्या कहते हैं, right? So हिंदी में to worry is same thing as चिंता करना, right? चिंता करना. Okay, good. So last one, I'm going to keep it a little bit short because a lot of people are, it's a long weekend, so a lot of people are out. So I'm just going to do one more sentence and I'm going to open it up for like discussion or anything like that, right? So this one is you have changed my life. So let's say you want to say this sentence in Hindi, right? How will you say that, right? To change is it's a verb, right? And this word is badalna. It's not badalna, it's badalna. Ba, the, la, and then na, badalna, right? So far, so good, right? And now let's look at the second one. My life would be, because life is feminine, right? It will be मेरी जिंदगी और दुनिया. Remember, this is a very common question, like, when do you use mera versus meri, right? Because life is feminine, you're using meri zindagi. If you're talking about, your bike, it will be meri bike, right? If you're talking about your brother, like, it will be mera bhai, my brother. Because brother is, masculine. If you're talking about sister, right? Meri sister, meri behan, right? So it's not about your, gender, whether, for example, I can say about my sister would be Mary's sister. It's the same thing even if like a girl is saying it, Mary's sister, right? Uh, so it's Mary's zindagi, right? You have changed my life. So you know that there will be somewhere verb badalna and there will be my life, right? Um, Now we have not done too many of the present perfect tense, right? Um, So this is one of the example of it. So for this one is like you have changed it, right? Remember, it's another example of when to use ne, another post position. So if you remember it, it's one of the most difficult topic, right? I mean, when do you use ne? When do you use ne, right? Now to change, it's like a transitive verb, right? Transitive, and whenever you're using transitive verb in the perfect tense or in the past tense, you're using a post position called ne, right? So you are saying aap, and then after that you have a ne, which is your post position. Aap ne. Now my life, which is meri zindagi, and then you have the verb badalna. So it's badal di hai. Now remember, because it's perfect tense, देना becomes दी, right? आपने मेरी दुनिया बदल दी है और आपने मेरी जिंदगी बदल दी है. You changed my life. Okay. Let's see if there are any questions. Okay. So I can see that Yon had a aha moment here, which is good. Um, any questions on this sentence? Okay. Why we are using the here? Um, the the short answer is that because you know it's perfect tense, like Lena becomes Lee, Dana becomes B, and the long answer is we have to cover it in the a little bit more in the perfect tense when we cover it, right? So that way you will strengthen it, like the usage of Lee and the, right? For example, I gave you my book, I've given you my book, right? मैंने आपको किताब दी, right? So they now becomes the there, right? And I took a coffee or some gift from you, right? So in that case, either you can use the or you can use dia, right? So it's Lee or Leah. Okay, we'll cover it a little bit more detail on, because this is like another interesting topic that we want to spend some more time here, right? But for this class, just think about, because you have changed, and that's why you're using it, like be here. So with that, what I will do is, like, I'll stop broadcasting and I'll open it up for discussion. So any questions you may have, you guys can ask me. Folks who are watching live on YouTube, let's join again. Happy long weekend. Uh, please suggest any topic that you want to cover in the next class, and we'll do that. So thank you so much.